Guillermo,
Hello.
welcome to come back to the Originalizationism channel. And Guillermo is the independent brand from Slovenia, from Argentinian originally, but now working with the also new statement called White Knight. So welcome back, and today let's continue the discussion before. I would like to know more about what do you think about the identity concept. So normally we're talking about the name, the face. So in general, do you want to talk about your name a little bit?
Yes. My name is Guillermo Escalante.
Escalante.
Yes, I have two more names, but let's focus in this now. Well, the name in itself, it's something like I believe that it really, well, I have the tendency to access to as much sources of information as I can without prejudice in general, unless they are really, really annoying or boring or too complicated. And then I build my own understanding of things based on the combinations of all these ideas. In general, I try to, I don't know why it happened. It just was the development of my thinking. Was like I would read, I will have a preference for a certain specific type of literature or informational sources, but in the end, I usually got very used, probably from history, to read different versions of the events in terms of understanding, in order to understand something that is perhaps in between these different versions, and then I use this methodology for getting understandings about life from any kind of field, so I cannot define myself so much in one area or another. It's not that I belong to a specific field of understanding and then against another field, like usually happen. I am going around all the fields, and although I have my own conclusions, I'm always open for discovery, and I understand that the discoveries, in many ways, are consequences of diversity in a way. Well, it is curiosity, motivation to seek for something else, but it's also the the diversity that creates a different perspective for the personal mind to test its own statements in a way. So I am saying all that because I don't have like a concrete evidence of what is the meaning of my name or why is the way I consider it. I probably check it in a book like 30 years ago, and then I just went on from this idea, because what I wanted to say with all that is that the strength of ideas, the beauty, the elegance, and the strength and inspirational power of ideas can inspire a person into creating actions that will actually define his character and relationship with the society and the type of message that he can provide for community in general, for its own time, no? The time he's living. So we can think that some ideas are wrong and can mislead behavior and can lead to confusion, but in the world of philosophy and self-development and arts, and we want an exchange of ideas, we want a clash of ideas, a debate, a constant debate of possibilities, because independently of how each different subject can be resolved properly or improperly through a debate, what you are training through this open mind is the muscle of independent thinking, basically. No?
That's right.
If the ideas are too, if everybody agrees, there is no more debate, and if there is no more debate, they become, you start to develop other things. No, you develop perhaps emotions, or you develop routines, you develop other type of elements that they are also relevant, but because I'm interested in ideas and the free development of them, I really prefer contrast in a way. When I don't have the contrast on myself, because it comes to me, I seek for it. So Guillermo, it's a name that it apparently means like so Yelmo in Spanish is a name that you use to define part of the armor of the knights. It was this, at least this, as I know it, is like this part that would, yeah, it can be considered as a mask.
Yeah, only
basically it's the one thing that is enable you to see better or worse, and that at the same time is protecting you. And so it would be, I always consider it like with a knight, that it is using this mask to protect himself and to protect others also. No? Like it is a specific role of going into battle with the proper equipment, basically, and then you don't go for yourself, you go to protect other people who cannot protect themselves. This can be extrapolated to any kind of field, because this is a realm of poetry, and for me this the power of this idea is enough to inspire me to have some kind of epical understanding of my actions, and then at the moment of choice prioritize the most epical outcome. No? Like the craziest offer ever, I say yes to. Crazier in the sense of like unconventional, extravagant, picturesque, epic, intense. That's why the reference to my concept is the thunder, because it's this moment of the storm where everything is kind of upside down, and there is a moment of transition between one reality and the next. And when the thunder starts and the rain falls and the lightning gets activated, it's a transition to something else. It doesn't last forever. It's just this moment of mutation. And I seek constantly these moments, sometimes I am lucky and find it in manifestations of extreme love and light. And sometimes I go beyond my own limits, as probably every night too, eventually. And then I get wounded. Now I am in bed because I took too much upon myself, and then my back jumps. So basically, coming back to your question, yes, the name would be Gi was some kind of, I think it was some kind of word that you use to evidence some kind of hierarchy, or some kind of, it's like a lord or something.
like a title.
Like what? Like a type, perhaps. I'm not completely sure, but the information I got is beautiful enough for me to take it as real, and then I structure my life into that. Guillermo is like Wilhelm, and and helmet is again the same idea, no? Like Will is probably some kind of, I am making poetry, but like will is power, and the power to act, the power to do, the power of being motivated to do. And helmet is something you use around your head to protect yourself. Who knows? Could be like a helmet of ideas that also protects your mind in a way, to take the right decisions.
Wow, that's a very rich content. You can refer to your first name. And how about the last name? Do you have a...
Well, Escalante is it's kind of obvious by itself. It's related with escalation, with words in Spanish that refer to ascension, going up the ladder, partialization of the steps. No, like you. It's not only like an idea of ascension, like an angel that goes to the sky, but it's more like the structure of progress, basically, no? Which is like it's divided in steps, and then in order to get to another step, you have to go through a previous one. No? So this understanding of escalation and the proper way of making it happen. No, it's not like a pendant it's not like a tilted field. It is and vertical movement and a horizontal movement and a vertical movement and a horizontal movement, and there
Yeah.
is some kind of order in this division of importance or relevance of vertical and horizontal. No, it's not like every step is completely different. It really, it is supposed to provide a structure for you not to even think about it. The moment the staircase is like I am here in Ljubljana, no? And you are there in Taiwan, and in Ljubljana we have a castle in the city center, and there is like they built, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, some staircases made of wood that they connect some parts with others, and they are very fancy and very beautiful. And I don't know if they did on purpose or they just made a mistake. You cannot just walk on these staircases. Every 2 steps you need to make an adjustment, to your own walking, because no matter how you walk, you end up not being able to do the next step. Very, very short. I think it's around 2 or 3 steps, and then you are forced to change the weight and then start again. It's a very strange thing. For an architectural level, if they did it on purpose, it really works. It is not clear at all what's the purpose of that and the benefit, but it is something that you can hear in conversations, in random conversations, people to name it, like as a bad example of something. Well, so you can make a very bad staircase if you want, or if you don't pay attention. But in this way, I think Escalante would be for me this like structure to rich development, basically. And it's also because of in Spanish, it also have relationship with the moon, in the sense of like you have no moon, and then you have this escalating moon, which is growing, and then you have half moon, and then you have full moon. So it's like
Uh,
the initial. Also, in this sense, it would be like the the, the departure, the moment where the energy start to build up. It's like a fresh, young energy that is starting towards completion or towards maturity. It's not like an accomplished thing in itself. It implies movement,
it's
movement
like
and direction.
it's like people talk about the zodiac. They also
Yeah,
mention, yeah, you have your own sign and you have another sign, which is maybe a similar idea. Yeah,
yeah. Can you elaborate a little bit so I
like
understand exactly what it?
elevator, like
Ah,
elevating sign. I don't know. Like for example,
yeah.
mine is like scorpion. But my
You're
real
Sagittarius.
sign is a Sagittarian. Yeah, so it's a different. Yeah,
So you're Sagittarius, and your inner sign, like a hidden sign, is Scorpion.
yeah, yeah.
Ah,
Which are two very different kind of star signs, and
yes,
that
yes. A completely different attitude. Yeah.
yeah. So it sounds interesting to me. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm Leo. I don't know what is my inner sign. And as far as I know, we are both in this Chinese horoscope. We are both fire
Dragon.
dragons, right? Yeah.
Yes.
We realized the other day, like the knights, talking about the knights.
Uh,
The white knights is like you and me are fire dragons. Andre and Domen are fire rabbits,
okay.
and Allen it's a gooden rat.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's all about movement, progress. It's very all these ideas can be related with, I don't know, climbing or who knows what other type of thing, career. But I always related them in the most epical way. So the image of the night, it's also something like it's always like where all these elements of my own name are perfectly combined if I want to, which I do,
Sure.
and then I just create this story that I love to be inside of. It's pure progress, pure movement, pure order, no structure and order, and it has these elements of technology, technological superiority, and elegance of an armor. No, at some point it was the highest tech, and it has the purpose of having a honorable goal. Why all this pushing forward is happening. It's not just because I'm falling or because I am doing it because I'm hungry. There is a whole purpose and a whole mythology of that organize the hierarchies in my action.
No, there was a very connect to you as a person. Like I'm also on the process. I'm learning more and more about what is this mysterious world in your mind, because you seem very clear like what it is, yeah, and the creature from this world. We just need to try to reason it. And on the way, I think, especially after you explain your name, it makes better sense to me right now. Yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah,
why?
many times I felt, no, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Because in the beginning, I was thinking about why night. Like I was trying to understand the reason, the connection between the name and the group. The name and the you. Obviously, you are the founder, so there are many things in your mind. I try to understand. Yeah.
My life was always like to see it in this way. It was always like following all these principles even before being aware that they have, before even rationalizing them. I was following already this type of logic that I just described now because I have more better understanding today. But I sent you before like a photo from this time when I was 18, probably from some old passport, old document, and this was the moment when this identity was forged somehow, no? Like, and then I realized that I was many years before I got my first iPhone and computer. I was reading constantly, basically before I moved to Europe, because when I moved here, I lost the access to good books in Spanish, and then I couldn't read anything. I had to learn 3 new languages, and then I also eventually got a computer and a phone, and then I stopped reading completely. Now if I am interested in something, I listen an audiobook or I study through videos, and no more reading. For me, although it was the most important element in my whole life. Like 33 years of where books were really the thing that would define me. And I was the subject of conversation, the thing that I would recommend to people. I had a lot of books, and then it was really defining my life, and also like the diversity of ideas that I collected was also based on that in a way.
Mm.
Um, the thing with the nights is like it actually, in this period when I was reading so much and my life was so artistic and so unpredictable and so different than every normal life, I was feeling very much in a concrete way, like more like an analytical engineering way, that there was not much difference between me and this Don Quixote, this book from Cervantes, because what happens to this character is that he reads these books about the Middle Ages, and then he thinks he's a knight or something, and then he's so crazy that he doesn't realize that he's completely out of context. And
Mm.
at the same time, he's very noble, and he has all these very great motivations and all these meanings that he's sharing left and right, and something very comical about him also, like almost like tragicomical, no? Like a parody of a knight. But in his own consciousness, he's completely up to the point. No, he's really like doing what he should do. Like, and he imagines that everything is happening the same way it was happening 1,000 years ago. And for me, my reality was always in a way something like that. I was reading these books of all sorts, and then taking decisions about how my life would look and which type of practices and movements and experiences I would get, only based on these books. Because I didn't have like formal education or like a strong family that would really dictate for me or what I'm supposed to do, or a super strong culture like where I was kind of put inside some kind of rail. No, I took freedom for myself by breaking up with all this household and even my city and eventually my country, and then I had no job, and a lot of impetus and interest, and like the whole day, every day, to explore the reality of what being a human is, And my directing lines were books that I was reading here or there. I read, I don't know, Castaneda, and then I read all these classicals and Greek philosophy and contemporary philosophy and a lot of history. And between all these different type of influences, I built my own identity. And there was a period of life where I was really, really determined to dismantle the baggage that I was given at home, part by part, and replacing it by different values and different aspects of possibilities of humanity that I prefer to belong to instead of the ones that I inherited. So even if when I had no idea, direct idea that I would relate to these nights or something, I was already having the feeling that my life was something like that already. Then coming to Europe was really shocking because one of the things that impressed me the most, traveling through France, the first month that I was here by bikes, was seeing the real castles, in real life. They're like spectacularly big and developed and fascinating. And this is something that basically you cannot see in South America because it never happened. No, nobody ever built those castles, and then a human being, like say, like an organism, uh, was never like who is from there unless they travel around Europe. They had never the experience of facing such a human endeavor, because it's really like the way I took it, it was almost sacred in some sense. No, it was like I know that they were used for defense and war and everything, but they have some kind of elegance and beauty that goes far, far beyond its functionality, I think. And the experience that you have or that I had with the bike, suddenly finding a castle in the middle of a valley in France was really devotional almost. It was like a mystic experience in a way. So there you have another element. And then when I arrived to Croatia, and then I had this scientist friend with whom I lived for 3 months, no, for 3 years. I wasn't able to read any language except Spanish, but I discovered that I could read somehow French, and he had endless amounts of books about Middle Ages and the Templars and the Knights and the heresies, and I spent many hours reading these books in French, like partially learning the language and partially actually learning all these stories and all these different versions of what happened in that period. And then you have so many elements, which I love that we have chosen a little bit randomly, but perhaps in a way that we will discover the logical order of it in the future. You have the castle, the princess, the shield, the sword, the the battle, the king, the queen, the wound, the Graia, the knights, the horse. It's like all this the very intense Western symbols, that they are like incredibly relevant, picturesque, and easily to imagine, and like sources of endless amount of allegories and jokes and stories. We are working with all this imagery, like you have Merlin, and then you have the forest and the boar and the hunting and the trumpet and the court. It's endless, it's an endless, and the crusades and the religious fight, and then you have Jesus inside, and then and the churches and the Gothic cathedrals and the geometry. Like it's somehow for me the field that condensate all the attributes of Western culture. So we have material forever to work on that. And one of my roles in the White Knights is to provide this layer of meaning. Like because I have this kind of Cervantes Quixote altered consciousness. wherever we go. The other day we went into a festival when we made this sculpture for this techno music festival. For me, the dance floor was a battle, and we were there in the battle, and all my allegories and all the jokes and all the comments we do, I would always relate to something like that. Not that I really see it as a real battle, but allegorically, it's very inspiring and motivating. And almost any situation you are in, it can be a feast, it can be a contest, it can be like a tourney, it can be like it's all the time. I am all the time providing and existing in this layer of epic understanding of reality. Sometimes I lose contact with the reality itself, but because the other guys are very pragmatical as well by profession, they have these two engineers, one architect, and you, which are very, very grounded also, and very, very, very dealing constantly with the physical reality, with the thermodynamics, and with the things that they are beyond interpretation. It's a very, very nice balance, because I can really go wild, because we will not get lost, because I'm not the one who is deciding what we actually gonna do materially. I am more providing all this layer of enchantment in every action we do. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Um, yeah, I think today we get to know more about the meaning of your name and what is the relevance of your name. And I think we can have a next episode talking about your reaction based on how people react to your name and the meaning of your name in general, names in your culture. I think those are something very interesting to know. For example, in my culture, there's some kind of magic, referred to the name, and so that's maybe in the next episode we can talk about that.
Yes, let's record it. Let's stop the recording and we'll record the next episode now.
Yes.
See you next time.
Yes. Thank you, Guillermo, and thank you everybody for listening. And see you next time.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Ciao.